Welcome to Beyond Flow. We're your hosts. My name is Tammy, and this is Maria, and we are here to talk today about the idea of what it means to live life through the journey and not the destination. What does that really mean spiritually? So we're going to talk about that. And before we do, I want to remind you, please share these videos if you like them, subscribe to our channel, and just let others know. We'd love for more people to get involved. Thanks so much. So what does this whole thing mean to consider the journey versus the destination? I was thinking about this, and the process of something like something that you rehearse. Let's the things that performance arts and things like that. There's so much rehearsal that goes into getting to that final stage when you present the production, and all is so focused on what's going to happen that day in that performance. But truly, all of the magic and all of the memories and all of the camaraderie that happens is all happening during the rehearsal process. And while there's highlights in a performance, I think if anyone's been involved in anything that you where you go through rehearsal, you remember so much more of that than that final moment.
Than the actual.
Yeah, like that becomes a blur. You don't even remember it's happened.
What do you feel is, I mean, I guess it's more for everyone that it's listening. I guess not the purpose, but what do you feel inspired you to maybe come with this subject? Like, what do you feel it's people sometimes they feel like?
Yeah, I think we get so caught up in accomplishing the goal or reaching the goal, and the manifestation, right? And through the process, we forget to enjoy it. We forget to be happy. We forget to find the twists and turns that come interesting, and being so rigid about where we're getting to, it kind of ruins the whole thing. Right. And I think a lot of times we get to that end goal, and it's maybe, it's satisfying to have accomplished, but it takes us immediately to what's next.
Isn't it like,
right?
So what I'm thinking is when we say, I want to go on a trip, right? And you get excited because you're going on a trip, and you think of, oh my God, like everything it's in your head of how you're going to feel once you get there. Right. Like it's all in your mind. It's all in your head, which it could be the same with this journey of life. It's probably like we're constantly thinking or feeling, once I get to get married, once I get to, the promotion, once I get the promotion, I'm gonna be happy. Once I get, I get the award, then I made it. And maybe when we're talking about the journey and the destination is to understand that the soul, first of all, we make an agreement before we come here to fulfill our purpose. And I think it was Carolyn Miss that she said, as long as we have life, we have purpose.
Yeah.
So it's understanding that the purpose is not something that it's that you're gonna achieve. The purpose is in the journey.
Exactly.
As you go, as you experience the collective of this human journey.
And you're learning the whole time, and you're growing. We don't want to start out and end in the same place, emotional maturity and physical maturity and all of that. We don't want to have not taken in what's been along the journey to help us become more,
when you
a more
say,
expanded self.
When you say emotional maturity, is, it's like you can't believe in God, the same God that you had when you were 10 years old, to the God now that, when you're 40. It's a very different God. It's a very different, even.
Yeah, it's whatever we're capable of understanding at each moment. It's the whole thing.
Right.
But then as we move through the journey and we expand and we learn different things, we go different directions, that whole thing becomes something more. It's like when you read a book, 5 years later, you read it again and you're like, I don't remember any of this. This happens with, I know we're going to do a podcast on books, but it happens with the Four Agreements.
Right.
That's a book that I know people read that book and they do it again. A lot of people listen to it in the car. It's just like, because it's such a mantra of like teachings, but you hear it differently, and each part means something different when you're at a different stage in the journey.
Right. Right.
I was thinking about how children, when parents have children, it's, first there's the 9-month journey, and then finally the baby comes, right? And then immediately, what's next? When are you going to hear them say their first word? When do they take their first bite of food? Everything, when do they grow out of the first set of clothing into the next? There's so many milestones. Then they turn 1. Well, as soon as they turn 1, it's amazing and it's a great day, but you're already now on to the next, into the next, and then they're starting school. So I feel like that child, parenthood is the perfect example of a never-ending journey that never has endings. It never stops, And so do you want to not be happy each and every breath of the time you're raising that little one and watching them become adult? You want to enjoy every second. You want to make everything magical. And I think if we can start to do that in our journey of life, through struggles and through jobs and through relationships, and really try to make it as magical as it can, we transform the journey into just amazing event after event after event.
And also understanding that the journey, we keep saying the journey, but sometimes the journey, because I think it can go with journey and purpose, and so they say, how do you know if you're in the right path? How do you know how do you know? Because if you're when you're in the right path, the path disappears.
Wow.
Because, we're not meant to know everything.
Right.
And how do you know that you're creating something even more magical, with more purpose? It's because you won't see it. You're not meant to see it.
Right.
Even if you go to school and you graduate with honors, and that doesn't guarantee that you will know your purpose,
and where you're going to end up, and how that's going to apply.
Right. So, in that also is something that I really, when I heard this concept, it really touched me, because I think we try to, we give so much time wanting to, first of all, we want to be perfect. And what is perfection? Really, it's just, we're very...
It's created.
It's created.
It's a created concept.
And we're already perfect, but there's
Correct.
Imperfections because we're human. That's
right.
The human aspect, or we can say the ego aspect of it. But, okay, so how do you know you're in the right path? The path is going to disappear. How do you know that you really what in that path that is magical, what you're doing, that it's beyond perfect? Is because you won't see it.
Wow.
And then in that, you have to face the I don't want to say the darkness of, but it comes, is the unknown. And in that unknown is where you have to go into silence. Meaning, because you're always going to have voices they're going to tell you 1,000 reasons why not to do something.
Right.
So when you go within, it's like they say, you can't sleepwalk yourself into your destiny. You have to be, you have to awake. and in that awakeness part of you that you go through, I mean, hopefully you give your soul that time to be in stillness and in being quiet.
Yeah.
Then it's not even about you wanting to find your journey, is that the journey will find you. The destiny will find you. The purpose finds you.
Yeah.
It's not that we have to go about it like we have to force it. We have to be this person. We have to create, a reality for us, because this is what we are told when we're, 10 years old, 12 years old. And that's where we tap into intuition. And that intuition, when we tap into that intuition, then we can say we are actually living our purpose. But that purpose is going to come, or understanding the journey, it's going to come with moments that are going to be filled with, you have to listen to your light, and you have to listen to your darkness, to your shadow. And then you tap into the parts of you that you don't want to, maybe, that that they need to be lifted, and then but also know your gifts and the part of you that can elevate.
And that you also have support around you. We have
absolutely
other people that
and masters and beings and angels.
We
and
have all kinds of cosmic support and divine support, and we have physical human support, and we have, we don't have to be an island. We don't have to conquer everything. We are here to participate and be a part of the whole, like play a role, but it's really in a completion of a whole that each one of us is a piece of, and each one of us really matters. And I think sometimes people get sort of lost on what is my purpose? I definitely talk to people about that in the store. I don't know what the next steps are. Maybe something has happened, a layoff or a relationship change or a move or a family member situation. And it's like, I don't know my next steps. And, we are not without guidance and support, and we have to go back to the concept of meditation, the concept of what you just said about going within, not being afraid to be in silence when those moments of uncertainty come. And those moments of silence are when all of the alignment happens, so that we can find the next steps when the time is right, and where we're going, what's the next move.
I think that silence, it's probably one of the most, I feel anyway, I mean, at least from my own experience, that people fear the most. If people talk and I try it, when you talk and you don't talk right after, and there's a little bit of a gap between two people talking, it's almost uncomfortable, because we're not comfortable with silence. It's almost like we're constantly like, I need to say something, or
be doing something.
And because silence is not just talking, but I mean doing, thinking, creating something. We're it's almost like we constantly have to be creating something, the next thing, the next project, the next, and we forget the most important part of the journey, which is the soul. I think this is where we come here to
reconnect with,
to reconnect. And although I've told this story many times, but it's one of my favorites. And I think I told this, I guess it's a parable. It's like the story of this very, I guess, important sage that goes into a town. And I love this because it goes a lot with what we're talking about. And he goes, this is, I don't know, hundreds of years ago, and he's in his carriage, and he gets to the hotel, and he tells the bellboy, just I'm gonna tip you, just I'm gonna go have a drink and take my luggage to my room. And like 30 minutes pass, and the bellboy comes down, and he's like sweating and so tired, and And he says, I worked really hard to take your luggage to your hotel room. I want to get tipped well. And he says, you didn't take my luggage. That wasn't my luggage, because my luggage was light. So what does that mean in our lives? What does that mean in our purpose? What does that mean in our journey? The journey, when you are meant to do something that is from the Creator, that it's been given to your soul with a purpose, it's never heavy. It doesn't mean that you don't go through tests. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go through uncertainties. It doesn't mean, but once you know, you're meant to go through those tests. But once you know that you feel in your heart that it's light, that what you do, it's your purpose, it's if it comes from God, it's light.
Yeah.
God is not going to give you a purpose that is going to be heavy. Then that belongs to another soul.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I love that story because you can apply it with so many things, with relationships, with your path. But I think that if we can understand or connect to the idea that what is given to you from God, that is your purpose, then the journey is not so heavy.
Well, and it makes me also recognize that when we go, we're focused on what's happening. We're in a certain job. We're starting to have conflicts with coworkers. If we can step out of ourselves and say, sometimes those things are happening because those people need to be with you. There's something that needs to happen between the two of you. So it's like someone becomes a villain and, they're not really the villain. There's something an exchange that maybe needs to happen between the two of you, or there's something you need to teach that soul. Maybe that soul has been waiting to be in front of you and they're giving you a hard time. But when you step out of ego and step out of being concerned about all those things that bother us, maybe the magic's going to happen there and the breakthroughs are going to happen there because there's something that needs to be resolved or cleared through that process.
That reminds me of a teacher, and she said to me one time, I think I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, probably, I think it was Rav Ashlag that said that every single person, Rav Ashlag was a Kabbalist, every person that you encounter, every single person, there's not one person, doesn't matter how small or, how much time you spend with that person, doesn't matter. Says that every person that you encounter in your life, it has a purpose. To the extreme, listen to this, to the extreme that maybe now if we talk about like now, right? Because we were talking about like, it's amazing how little patience we have, how much, we're constantly like, we don't like, especially driving is where we get tested the most.
Totally.
And then she said, imagine how we can change the way that we look at life if you came into this world just for that moment, for that little moment, where a driver is going to, like, I don't know, cut you off. And you agreed between you and that soul that is the last test that you have in this
physical
realm, so that you can elevate.
And you're going to pass the test or fail the test.
You miss it because you can't put the dots together.
Right.
And that's a reactive nature. But if we look at everything like that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity for me to I don't need to get so caught up in the illusion of this person is doing this to me, that person cut me off. So our human experience doesn't have to be, then again, so heavy. Things are gonna come, things are gonna happen, the body's gonna, we're gonna age, that's just
right.
That's life. But I think that we can make the journey a lot lighter if we know that everything and everyone that comes into our lives is for our best, and it comes from God.
Yeah. And I totally agree. That's so powerful. And, if you are ever just stuck and not certain of what's next, and you don't have a meditation practice, or you don't have a some sort of thing you do that centers you, that takes you to that within place. I heard something a couple days ago. I thought it was amazing. And it was talking about if we do something 1 minute a day. So I apply that to meditation. Okay, if we meditate for 1 minute a day, that's not very long, right? But if we do anything for 1 minute a day, it's way more effective than doing that one thing for an hour a month. So, you think of taking on something for a whole hour has way less effect than doing it 1 minute a day. Because consistency is what the universe wants from us, to be consistent, to stay in that alignment, and know that we are setting up ourselves for this wonderful journey. That alignment is so important. If we're chaotic and all over, it's not going to be so smooth, right?
And that is where I think my biggest thing, I don't know, that's just for me, that I love, it's when we can tap into intuition. Like, I love anything that has to do with intuition is something you can't explain, you can't put into words, you can't, something that you feel. And I am more of a feeling than, so
like
analytical, even though that I can analyze everything back and forth, but it's not when I feel the most connected. It's when I feel the most maybe makes sense. So the part of meditation that I think it's so, and I know you keep saying it, because it's the only way to tap into that intuition, tap into that stillness, tap into that. And if you don't know what your next step is, if you don't know, Yogananda says it all the time, if you don't know what your next step is,
don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
Wait.
And sit in silence.
Sit
in stillness, in meditation. God, it's not up to you at this point. Your only job is to be still in stillness. And through that, then I think that's where it's so amazing. I don't think we take that much time to what really like self-realization is. That's where you go into truly who are you? Like, are you really this person that wants that thing so bad? Or is it that the outside world is expecting that from you? So that's where you go within and you say, maybe you won't tap into that intuition right in that particular moment, but you will have a self-talk.
And you'll have, and the more consistent you keep coming back to that place, I guarantee you the guidance will show up. It might not even show up like you said, in the moment of a meditation, or the moment of that silence, or the moment of a prayer, or the moment of sitting in front of the ocean, but it's going to come at the right time, because you keep aligning yourself, and then it comes.
And it's genuine. The moment that you sit in meditation, it's so important to. People think, well, but when I'm meditating, I think. Okay, then think, because then that means you're asking questions to your soul, to your higher self. Your guides will help you have that answer. And the more you do it, then the more definitely you get to know yourself. And the more you get to know yourself, then the more you tap into that metaphysical world.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like the Matrix. You tap into that
It's sort of infinite
vortex that it all aligns.
Yeah.
The people, the circumstances, the abundance, everything. That's what we are meant to experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And if we think about the ultimate journey, we all have one. We're all living, and we're all moving through a physical experience, and there will come a completion to this physical journey,
right,
as a human being, and we're all inevitable to reach that point. And I was thinking about, well, that's really the journey. It's really from birth to transition. That's a whole journey that goes through schooling and all kinds of things. It's not just one event. So that ultimate journey, we're all on it. So we have to really try to make it as really happy as we can. We aren't meant to be here miserable. We really are meant to be happy. And I was thinking about this before we started, and this is what I wrote. I said, in the end, what is the final journey? We'll know. We won't really know until we reach it, and then we keep going.
Well,
we keep going.
We keep going, and
on to the next.
Up to the next. And I think, I don't know what else to add after that. I think one last thing I would say is not to be so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
That the journey is, it comes with the ups and downs, and the ups, don't get too caught up, and the downs don't get
too down.
Don't get too caught up either, because it will pass. And at the end, none of us, and I say it all the time, none of us know what we're doing. And maybe that's why we're not supposed to know what we're doing, because in that not knowing what we're doing is how we discover our strength,
who we really are,
our faith, our people, our tribe, our connection.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that we have no idea what we're doing.
It is.
So
because we're so limited. If we think we know it all, we're going to live a very small life.
Right.
If we open ourselves up to the infinite, then we have every possibility.
And the best way to go through this journey is do good deeds, and operate from the heart.
Yeah.
So that we can make the journey and the destination just magical.
Amen.
So
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.